Welcome back to the Polishing Podcast. My name is Nico, otherwise known as Nico All Powerful on things, Twitter,
on this stuff.
Twitch, YouTube, those things and stuff. I am the host of the Polishing Podcast. This is my co-host, Allie.
Your wife.
Your wife.
Hi.
Allie Mack, yeah.
Allie Mack, yeah, on the Twitters.
And the Twitches.
And the Twitches now. I made a Twitch account. I'm not going to do anything on it except probably just watch other people, but...
Mm-hmm.
But it's there.
It's there.
It's there. You can find me and be like, hey, what is she doing? Following 2 people? Oh, that's it.
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is after Christmas, after New Year's.
Yeah. Welcome to 2020.
It's a new decade.
Yeah.
The roaring 20s. The Dust Bowl is going to happen again.
There's definitely a depression coming after, whether it's great or not. We'll find out.
I don't think... They didn't call it the Great Depression because it was fun.
No.
So, probably.
But that's fine. Language changes. It's been 100 years, so maybe we can have a great depression.
No, it's going to be...
It's not going to be
It's going to be a sad depression.
But in the meantime, we are running booze across state lines and building elaborate houses to impress our high school crushes.
Secret entrances in the buildings.
Oh, definitely.
Where the booze is.
Truly, that should just be a staple of architecture, period. Like, everyone should just have a speakeasy if you want one. I still believe that that's the coolest.
If you want one.
I mean, yeah, obviously. There's some people who don't drink, so why would they have a speakeasy?
Because it's a secret room.
Could be like the one in Riverdale. It starts out not serving any alcohol.
Yeah.
Just mocktails. I'm going to bring up Riverdale in every single episode of the podcast.
We're going to edit out every single time you bring up Riverdale.
Disrespectful. We might have to part over creative differences.
Oh, well.
You just shrug your shoulders.
Yeah.
We're married. We love each other.
Yeah. But we had a very chill Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wrote down was Christmas. What is it? Christmas what? Christmas traditions, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. Fun. I mean, we could talk about our Christmas tradition.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because, I mean, can't ask anybody else about theirs. I mean, you can
That's
leave
true.
a comment about your Christmas
tradition.
tradition.
Really love to hear about your Christmas or other related holiday traditions. I mean, I spent the last night of Hanukkah with my sister and her kids, which was cool. We lit candles, and she actually knows the prayer. I didn't know the prayer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're supposed to cover your head with like a cloth while you say the prayer. And apparently my sister's friend gave her some cloth to like cut up and hem and make into these cloths.
Oh, so you're not just supposed to like drape anything over your head?
I mean, you can drape like anything, but you're like supposed to have special cloth that's like set aside. It's like you're sort of like a prayer shawl situation. It's not exactly like a prayer shawl, but it's kind of like that.
Okay. I'm not the Jewish one, by the way.
Yeah. It's fine. I married a goy. He's all right. But yeah, so the kids knew. My niece and nephew were like, oh, we got to get something for our heads. And then Hannah and I just like didn't care. So Hannah was like, my head is covered. It's fine.
Well, wait, didn't she get a thing though?
Yeah, but she just literally forgot to make the fabric into like little squares, basically. Like my mom always had like a square of cloth that she just kept in a drawer only for basically Hanukkah.
Oh.
Because it's not like we really did any like Shabbat stuff, but
yeah.
You're supposed to have like a designated thing, and that's when the boys are supposed to wear yarmulkes.
Oh, okay.
But she didn't have one, so my nephew just put like a scarf, like a literal like a scarf on his head. It was adorable. It was really cute, and he was the one who lit the candles. So like my sister showed him, you light the center one, and then you use the center one to light all the other ones, and that was cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So that was, and then we ate tacos.
All right.
But it was delicious. So.
Yeah, tacos are always good.
Yeah, and Italian ice. So we were just all over the place in terms of our sort of cultural heritage.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
But most of my family isn't really religious. Like, Hannah does it just because of, like...
Well, I mean, we celebrate Christmas. We're not religious.
Right. Yeah. But it was kind of like that. She was like, even with, like, the prayer and the lighting of the candles and stuff, which feels definitely more religious than what we do on Christmas.
Well, yeah.
Still, like, for her, we sat down and had a conversation about it over dinner where she was talking about how she sees the story of Hanukkah as like a story of people who survive, despite limited resources and in the face of obstacles. And then so she kind of identifies with that right now. So
that makes sense.
She was like, it feels particularly meaningful to think about how many of our ancestors made do with very little.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what she takes away from it and what she wants her kids to take away from it. So that's what they talked about. I found out that my 9-year-old nephew is now obsessed with the Holocaust. All Jewish children at some point in their lives, I'm pretty sure, become obsessed with the Holocaust.
Just for learning about it.
Yeah, you just become, especially because it's not like, I mean, up until that, right? Like, it's not like you've heard of the Holocaust until you learn about the Holocaust.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, basically, he just like found a book at the book fair. Shout out to the Scholastic Book Fair, still changing children's lives to this day.
I don't know if this is real change.
Yeah, I mean, he just was reading about it, or he found this book he wanted, and he like read the back of it, the little blurb, whatever. And he's a pretty smart kid, but he's also 9, so like there's only so much he can wrap his head around. But the book, my sister said, is like age appropriate. It's like a graphic novel about the Holocaust, which I have a lot of questions about. But
I mean, I saw when we're still working at Target, they were selling a graphic novel about the civil rights movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, March.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty good apparently. Well, I've read the first one, but I haven't read all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, my nephew is apparently like into the Holocaust, and then at dinner he was like bringing up all these different like geopolitical conflicts. I was like, "You're 9 years old." He was like, "Well, we need to talk about how this is racist," and I was like, "I mean, it is, but I'm really glad that at 9 years old you're just awake to that."
Also, calm down. We're celebrating right now.
But that was, I mean, for him, it's all connected, right? So for him, Hanukkah and the story of the Jews is connected with, oppression. I mean, he basically asked me, like, why are people racist?
Oh.
He just, like, put that on me. I had a taco, like, half in my mouth. And I was like,
It's like my taco story.
Yeah. You have a great taco story. Mine was, I think, slightly less, like, embarrassing. I
wasn't embarrassed.
I don't know. I feel like I would be embarrassed had I been at your taco story. But I was not embarrassed when Henry was like, but like, why are people racist?
Because their parents were.
Right. I mean, and I talked a lot about like how there's lots of different motivations behind why different groups of people hate each other, and why certain groups have power and others don't. And it's tied a lot to history and colonization, which he also asked about.
Yeah.
And I talked for like a long time. And I mean, you know him. He talks a bit. Yeah. He didn't interrupt me once. He was just like absorbing. And I was like, that was a lot of talking. He was like, yeah, but I learned a lot.
The kids are sponges.
Yeah. And then my niece, who's 6, was like, and Hannah was like, I think maybe we don't need to talk about this. And I was like, yeah, I feel like maybe we're done. I was like, Henry, we can talk about it later whenever you want.
Just make sure Ella's not around because she'll freak out.
Yeah, I mean, she's just sensitive, and she's also 6, so like she doesn't know how to internalize it. She just knows we're talking about like bad things.
Yeah.
But for her, she's still at an age where it's hard for her to distinguish between doing a bad thing and talking about other people doing a bad thing. Like it's hard. She's just like, oh, don't talk about that. That's a bad thing, and we don't talk about bad things.
She's a YouTuber.
Sort of, yeah.
I'm trying. It's a place where everybody's welcome. There's no bad things in the world. Mm-hmm. Australia's not on fire.
It's literally on fire, y'all.
There's nothing.
If you're in Australia, really hope you're okay. Like, sincerely.
There's a Twitch streamer I follow that right now, as we're recording this, she's Australian, and she's raising money to help the people actually fighting the fires because their prime minister's doing jack shit all, apparently.
Oh, well, that's garbage. Well, I mean, it's not garbage that the person that...
Well, yeah, I know what you were saying. That's garbage, too.
The prime minister is garbage, but the person... Yeah. It's sad when, like, governments don't step up and take care of their people, and so, like, random individual citizens...
Yeah.
Because we'll never have the power, the coordination, the resources that a head of government will have. Looking at you, W, and the whole Katrina FEMA fiasco.
Jesus. I didn't... As a teenager, I didn't understand it, but I was like, why isn't anybody getting helped?
They were just like, oh yeah, send everyone to the Superdome, and then the Superdome ceiling started falling into itself amongst all of the horrible rain.
Yeah.
Also, people knew that the flooding was going to happen because the levees were not built to actually withstand a hurricane of that severity.
Yeah.
So they were just like, well, people will just die, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And then Kanye went on TV and said, W doesn't like black people.
He doesn't care about black people.
Well, either or.
Which I feel like, and that was back when Kanye was right. He was right to interrupt Taylor Swift.
Had his mom passed away yet?
No, that was before, I think.
I think after she passed.
He got a little
woo-woo. Well, I think maybe because there's been.
Because she passed away really suddenly.
Yeah. There's also been rumors for a long time that Kanye's either bipolar or suffers from some kind of depressive.
Yeah, borderline personality, something.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet that his mom may or may not have played a part in keeping him level-headed
Stable, yeah.
and maybe potentially medicated.
Yeah.
And after she passed, he may have just stopped.
Yeah, and apparently he's really like in his personal life. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's always Kanye stans will tell you like, oh well, he's actually this brilliant creative genius, and I'm like, well, he hasn't put out good music in a good minute, and now he's doing his weird megachurch swindling thing.
He's doing a gospel record.
Right, which isn't going to be good because he's not a gospel artist.
Can only go lavender.
Right.
Can't go platinum. Or what was it? Velvet? I don't
Something
remember.
like that.
I only know that because of the South Park episode
Yeah.
where Cartman makes a gospel band, and because I think Kyle probably dares him that he can't become a platinum charting artist, and then Kyle's right because as a gospel artist you can't.
You can't.
It's a different rating system, like
Yep.
with where your album sales go.
Yeah, but you know, Kanye for a while was really speaking a lot of truth to power.
Yeah,
And then I think he just got too much power, and then I think his mom passed away, and now he's just some rich asshole.
yeah. I mean, there's always a part of like the rock star persona that he like had before that, where it's just
Right.
like I got money.
He was erratic
Yeah.
before he got famous. Like he was breaking into people's houses
Yeah,
and
he's
playing
doing-
his demo. Like
Yeah.
he was crazy
Yeah.
prior to making it, and then
Yeah.
he made it. And I think the more praise he got, and I think there's a point where a lot of famous people, particularly musical artists and
Oh yeah.
movie
The John Mulaney
directors,
bit.
yeah, they like surround themselves with people who just say everything that they do is great and brilliant.
Yeah.
And then you just become that
Star
John
Wars
Mulaney
prequels.
bit. Yeah. Well, here's looking at you.
George
every
Lucas.
single person involved in Star Wars.
Well,
Every
no, I'm
single
talking
one.
specifically about the prequels, like Episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Hmm.
George Lucas is on record saying that he wanted to edit things out, but he couldn't because everything was integral to the story, and people just kept telling him, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea." So the movie just became this weird. It's like a kids movie, but there's a socio-economic, political plot line, and you're like, "Oh, is this like?" There's entire swaths of that movie where they're all like they're in like a what is it?
Well, it's like the Senate room. Or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
they're
that,
in
yeah.
the
and they're just like
all
talking.
yeah, and they're arguing about politics. And as a child, you're like, I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on here.
I'm like, I don't follow anything that's happening right
It's
now.
like, I just want to see Jedi do things.
Right. Now this is pod racing.
God, I still fucking hate that line. He can really write.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and
But it's like that where you just get told yes so much that you don't think you can do anything wrong.
Yep.
The only thing is apparently George Lucas went, oh crap. Like there's a scene of him after they first show the movie, and he's just like in the behind the scenes thing. He's just like, well, that's what it is, huh?
Well, because I think what's interesting is that, and that I learned from some folks that I follow on Twitter, is that like directors, I always assume that directors did a lot of editing. And it's true that some directors are really heavily involved in editing. Like
Yeah.
Taika Waititi is apparently very involved in the editing process, or at least has been for several of his films.
Yeah, I thought, I mean, from my mental image, I thought they would just sit in the editing room with the editor and be like, I
Right.
want this,
But
that.
apparently, there are all these very famous directors of particular demographic groups that you can probably guess. They look more like Nico than other groups of humans. And apparently, a lot
Straight
of them, they
white
just
man.
film a ton of stuff, and then they just like hand all of these hours of film to an editor
Go,
who
"Hey,
then
make this
like
a movie."
creates a movie out of nothing. And so there's actually, I was reading an article about how many famous like white male directors have female editors. And there's a lot of folks, particularly who know a bit about film and social justice, who talk a lot about how like really like when you think of like what a director does, a lot of those choices come down to editing.
Yeah, just- which is so weird to me.
Right.
Because, you know, like, I mean,
Because to me, editing is directing
well, yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because, I mean, giving actors good direction on set is good because
Mm-hmm.
you need that for their performances to
And
be
crew
good.
members, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody who's there on set needs some sort of cohesive direction.
Yeah, but then you get to the editing room and it's like, hey, here's a 10, 20, 30 hours of footage, however many hours
Make
of
a
footage.
2-hour film out of it.
Yeah, figure it out.
And then you just walk away.
It's like, oh, here's the storyboard. And then just walks out. Like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
So, and it's interesting too, because I think a lot about like what that how that plays into things like reshoots, because like an editor has to fuck with it and then they send it to the studio and the studio says like, yeah, we can actually send this out into the world, or no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure often with recommendations or thoughts from the editor or directors or whatever, but you know, like you have no idea how much work these editors do, and it's interesting when you see a well edited piece of film versus something that's like just not as well edited. And I was thinking about
Justice League.
Yeah, like Justice League it was so bad. Why did they make any of the choices that they made?
It's because it's 2 movies spliced into 1 movie.
Yeah, and you can see how they're like not ever cohesive.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's no way Zack Snyder and fucking Joss Whedon
the
styles,
bane of my existence.
like they're not gonna, like, you think they're gonna intersect like gears and just do this, but this happened and they just locked up because it doesn't.
Right.
Zack Snyder's like, no, I want the grittier, darker side of the DC universe, and Joss Whedon's like, nobody should ever be taken seriously ever, especially superheroes.
Oh, and also no character should have different voices at all. Every character should sound exactly the same in a Joss Whedon universe. They're all the same with just different people making the face noises.
They're all sarcastic.
All of them.
Yeah.
And they're all witty, but not actually witty. They're witty in a very particular way
Yeah.
that you build a whole scene around a one-liner instead of actually needing it to move the plot.
I understood that reference.
I understood that reference. I was like, y'all wrote this whole scene
So Chris
that-
Evans could say that.
so that Chris Evans could deliver one line. And he delivered it well,
Yeah.
but good God, that man is a great actor. Y'all wasted his talents. It's
It's okay.
disrespectful. How do you watch Snowpiercer and then go, we should just have that guy have like a throwaway one-liner?
Because that's what they did for the Avengers movies.
And that's just disrespectful.
Up until... Wait, was Infinity War the third one?
Joss Whedon didn't direct that one.
Well, yeah, I know that. But that's the third Avengers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
Avengers
so half of the Avengers movies are Joss Whedon.
Yep.
Technically, I mean, you could say Captain America, Civil War is like Avengers 2.5 or whatever.
Right. I don't know why they didn't just label that in Avengers, but whatever.
I mean, because the movie follows Cap for the most part.
Well, they all follow Cap, don't they?
Not, I mean,
Well, I mean, it follows him and Tony, and then Ultron is mostly about Tony.
well, yeah.
So, like, I don't know. To me, anytime there's more than like 2 or 3 of them.
Doesn't the first
Should just
Avengers
be an
open up on
Avengers.
Black Widow?
Yeah, but it doesn't follow her. It's introducing her.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like,
But it doesn't follow her through the film. It's much more about Cap and Tony.
I'm just saying, it doesn't. Well, how does Civil War start? I know it's with Bucky,
Yeah.
but that makes more sense because he's more related to Cap than
Right.
anyone else. No, you're only wanting to get up here because you want to get attention.
And then flash her butthole.
Yeah, but
But yeah, so like editors really make a big difference. So when I think about like
we're so off topic.
we're so off topic, but when I think about comparing like if you were to watch like Justice League,
We're gonna
and
talk
then,
about Christmas.
like yeah, we're gonna circle back. And then
we
like
can't circle back from Justice League.
and then like the episode of The Witcher that pairs the Striga attack and Yennefer's transformation. When you like compare that episode, what is it, like episode 3?
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
that one and then Justice League. Granted, yeah, one is like 50 minutes of television and not a 2.5 hour.
I mean, it's an hour and something minutes.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah,
I
every
just assumed
episode's
it was
an
a little
hour and
less than
something
an hour.
minutes. Yeah.
When you compare the two, for me, it comes down to like, girl, she just got her whole ball. She was like, "You're not gonna let me do it on your lap." I'm gonna sit. Oh, but wait, what if she sits there the whole time we're recording? That'd be so cute.
She might.
Oh, look, you guys, we've been blessed. We've been blessed, not by the butthole, but by Nem sitting here between us.
Yeah.
This is worth paying for the video
God.
podcast all by itself.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, when you look at like the ways that editing plays into those two things, it feels like there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so editing, I don't know, feels really important to me.
Yeah.
And that's like a function of like saying no, cutting down, focusing things.
Mm.
And that can be really hard, especially when you have someone like Kanye, who's like off the wall and lauded as this creative genius.
What
and
was the album he put out? Life of Pablo?
that he just kept changing.
Yeah, he like changed
Why'd
it.
you put it out, Kanye? Why'd you put the album out? If
He
you were
put
gonna...
out DLC for Life of Pablo like 3 or 4 times before he was like, it's
yeah.
done. And I'm like,
And I'm sure it wasn't done. I'm sure the like the record company was like, you cannot do this anymore.
is he with a record label?
I think so.
But like,
Most major artists are at this point.
yeah, but whose?
I assume probably Jay-Z's label, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know.
No, because they're like in a feud. They don't talk anymore. Jay-Z and
wasn't
Kanye
there-
aren't friends. They were at Diddy's party. This was a big deal, and Diddy tried to like make them reconcile, but they both just sort of didn't speak to each other. But there are photos of them standing near each other, so everybody. I mean, that's a big step.
Well, yeah, because isn't he one of the major artists on Tidal? Because that's one of the reasons why he was doing stuff. Is because the album came first.
Well, yeah, but Tidal isn't a record label.
Well, no, but I'm saying since it's a streaming platform, he was like, oh, I could re-upload the song a bunch of times and it doesn't matter
Right.
because it came to Tidal first, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, you have to be able to tell somebody no,
yeah.
you know? And even though he was saying the right things, like he was correct when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people. He was correct.
And Michael Myers had to stand there at that.
And just be like, all right, well,
Just
he
like,
was
I-
right when he said that giving that award to Taylor Swift over Beyonce was some bullshit. Because Taylor Swift's video was not unique or creative in any way.
I just like the fact that Beyonce is like, why is he up there saying that?
Beyonce's like, oh, but in some ways that is par for the course.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't want the Bayhive to come for me, but if
yeah.
we're being honest, Beyonce is in many ways like the most neoliberal capitalist grouping of an artist.
I mean, aren't any mega artists at least somewhat capitalist because
Oh
of
yeah, I
the
mean,
way it, yeah.
at least some of like you have to be at least a little bit to accumulate that much money and
Yeah.
continue to have it. But
You got to continue to rebrand yourself as someone that wants to make money and keep following trends to do so.
yeah, well, and do things that are exploitative. It's not so much about trends. Like trends aren't.
I mean, following a trend, especially musically, helps you stay relevant
oh yeah, for sure.
or trying to break the mold. But I don't know what Beyonce is doing. I
mean-
don't go out of my way to listen to Beyonce.
She's not really your type of musical artist.
Nope.
So that doesn't surprise me.
I like two things: really heavy metal and slut pop.
Yep. And Beyonce hasn't had good slut pop in a minute. I would argue since what is it? Naughty Girl? Naughty
No.
Girl. That's some good slut pop. But that's like mid 2000s
Yeah.
Beyonce. She hasn't been
Mid
that.
2000s pop isn't really that good either.
It's not great. I would argue Naughty Girl is pretty good.
Okay.
But so that may just need to get added to your slut pop rotation, but I would say that's it.
If you were wondering what slut pop is, because you had an
Because
idea.
you are wondering.
Yeah. It's basically pop music where girls are like, or it doesn't have to be exclusively women, but it's mostly women talking about how they want to be choked, do drugs, or fuck. And that's it. Halsey has an entire song about it.
Oh yeah.
Most
Actually, anytime Halsey mentions sex in a song, it's either
yeah.
I'm sad and depressed or it's bona fide slut pop.
Yeah.
It doesn't really.
Tove Lo's like almost entire discography is
Yeah.
all about fucking and doing drugs and
A lot
living
of
up.
a good bit of Kesha's discography,
Yeah.
particularly some of the earlier stuff, but I think
Yeah.
still even.
Though, I mean, she
Kesha's.
doesn't really do much of her early stuff anymore because of the reason it was even made
Right.
or produced. Though she did perform, what was it, TikTok or
TikTok,
something for the first
yeah.
time in forever?
Yeah, in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was really good. I didn't watch the performance, but
Yeah. Was
like
that on the
Kesha's.
VMAs or something? Or MTV Awards or something? I don't. It was on.
it was on some
because
award
it
show.
was
Yeah,
recorded, and people were like,
yeah. People were really excited because she just hasn't performed it for a really long time.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
If I mean, I know. I think wasn't the verdict that the producer got? No, she didn't get out of the recording contract, which sucked for her.
Yep.
But if any of that stuff was true about what happened, then I wouldn't want to perform those songs either.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
I would probably just avoid them and write my own fucking music anyway.
yeah.
So
I don't think
shout out to Kesha.
Carly Rae Jepsen's music qualifies as slut pop,
No, not
but
at
it
all.
is catchy as
But
shit.
you do like it. But do you like Call Me Maybe is the question.
It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that song, and I don't know about that album more because I haven't listened to the whole album. But yeah,
But yeah. So Christmas tradition.
I don't know how you got on that
I
tangent.
don't know. You just let me talk and that's what happens. I don't know.
Look, nobody's unsubscribed from the Patreon yet, so
Hey. Thanks, team.
look, if you were like, I don't want to broaden my horizons and hear about SJW style things, then I made. How did I start that? If you don't want
If
to,
you don't want to.
then having Allie on was not the change that you wanted to see in this
No,
podcast.
It was not.
Also, if you use the term SJW unironically, I shut down. I've saw it every time I see it written, and somebody's like, "You're forcing ish." This is what I think they sound like. Sorry, this is coming from being raised in the South, and that's how people like this sounded.
Yeah.
SJWs invading, putting their stuff in The Witcher, and why are women so powerful? Or gays, because they always got to interject the gays
Right.
somewhere.
The gay agenda
Yeah,
is to
the gay
incite
agenda.
The agenda.
I just said gay agenda, but I mean
The agenda. I don't know. I'm
the
trying.
agenda. You almost got there.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you that we had a meeting. And we voted on needing to put as many randomly and really like not substantial queer characters and as many things as possible. So, you know, we're doing great. We're accomplishing all our milestones on that front.
Honestly, right now, I can't think of a queer character in a popular form of media right now. Like openly, and I'm talking
There's
mainstream.
Supergirl.
The
Sister is a
sister.
lesbian, and they have a trans woman
that's right.
character on there.
And that's mainstream as hell.
Batwoman.
CW.
Batwoman is a lesbian.
Yeah.
Riverdale has lesbians.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in like the main, not the main four characters, but the like
Get
sort
it
of
out of here.
ancillary four.
Yeah.
Two of them are lesbians together.
Apparently, Ruby Rose almost got paralyzed from doing a stunt on Batwoman when they were shooting.
Jesus Christ.
Like this is months ago, but apparently she hurt her back real bad.
Well, that's rough.
Yeah.
She's all right.
Yeah, I mean she is.
Yeah, but
I mean, do you follow her on Instagram? She's been having fun
no,
celebrating
she's
New Year's.
like really good friends with Taylor Swift, so I just can't.
Nah, I don't care.
I'm
about
like, there's
that.
only so many times I can see you with like a bunch of 7 foot tall blonde models,
I mean, she was a model first.
right?
Well,
And she's hot, but I don't want to see her friends because they're annoying and vapid.
well, no, that's why I'm saying like, oh, that's why she has those friends is because she was a
Yeah.
model.
Then why is she friends with Taylor Swift? That's the real question.
I
Because
don't
Taylor
know.
Swift ain't no model.
Okay. I'm just, I'm basically like, all right, we get it. This is the you hate Taylor Swift episode.
I don't hate
It's
Taylor
too
Swift.
late. You've said way too much for it to be real, Tim.
I feel like I should explain myself. Should I explain myself? I don't know.
You don't have to.
I,
I'm not putting you on trial
yeah,
right now.
I just think that Taylor Swift is the most mediocre version of everything that she does, except for singing, because then she's the worst version.
I mean, there are plenty of people that are worse at singing. I could sing.
I really,
not good.
I genuinely think you might be a better singer than her.
I don't.
Have you heard her sing?
I've heard
Like,
myself
live?
sing.
No, you have to like look up. There was some time
I mean,
when
I've
she
heard her
performed
sing.
on Ellen.
Well, I
That was
saw
like,
one when she performed on MTV like years ago
Oh my
when it was
God.
like her breakout stuff, and I was like, she's
so
not
bad.
good.
She's so bad.
Yeah. But that's
As they
I
say in
don't.
the South, she couldn't carry a tune in a bucket.
I just don't care.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
just makes me mad every time I remember how famous she is for singing.
Yeah.
Because she's very not good at singing.
Yeah, I mean it happens.
Yeah, I mean it does. Like Britney Spears can't sing.
She can't.
No.
I've
not
never
really.
heard a live performance of Britney Spears.
It's because she usually doesn't do them. She just lip syncs.
I mean, with as much choreography she does though, that's
Yeah.
I mean kind
that's
of
fair.
yeah. I mean she performs in Vegas, so
Yeah, everybody in Vegas is lip syncing. Nobody's
Yeah.
singing live in Vegas unless they're like a crooner.
well yeah, don't
dude,
they do it every night?
Pretty much.
Yeah, there's no way your voice would hold up to that.
Right. There's no way.
'Cause
But yeah,
even-
Britney Spears hasn't truly actually sung live in maybe over a decade.
I was gonna say, even when you tour, you don't perform every night.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to go from state to state and stuff.
Right.
So, Christmas,
Christmas.
Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler.
So what do we like to do?
So it's evolved now into 4 films. Originally it was just 2.
Was it 2? Because I
Yeah.
feel like it's been.
Originally it was just 2.
All right. Well, maybe we got to go back to 2.
I don't know. 4 was fine for me.
It was an all-day thing. And
Part
you
of
know I
it
don't
was that we watched your movies first, and I knew we probably shouldn't have watched your movies first.
No, you
because-
picked a 2.5-hour movie.
Well, yeah, I told you it was a Golden Age musical.
How am I supposed to know what that means? I literally don't watch movies that are older than 1980.
Yeah. Well, you watched them. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. The first
That's
one
the
we
rule
watched-
we'd have to change. Is every movie has to be 90
No,
minutes.
unacceptable. I do not accept this amendment. It fails in committee.
Neb, what do you think? She raised her paw. She's on my
She
side.
didn't. She did not raise her paw. That paw is still. Look. She's smelling my hand. She loves me more.
Oh, she did. She shrunk. Oh, she was ready to fight. She's fighting you.
Are you fighting me?
Be careful. She doesn't know how to not draw blood when she goes to swipe.
No, she just wants to smell my hand intently. Why are you so weird? Why are you so weird?
She's like, no, go away. See, she brings out the claws and she gets you. She doesn't
She
know.
didn't get me. I don't know.
I mean, she snagged my skin most times when she does that.
Why did you attack your father? Why'd you do that?
She's weird.
She's so cute.
But
okay, so we started with Rambo, which I'd never seen before.
did we start? I thought we started with Hot Rod.
Oh, we did start with Hot Rod. I lied. So we started with Hot Rod. So basically what we do is each of us pick a movie. Or usually it was one, but this year we did two.
I could have sworn we started with... Because why would I have picked Commando?
Because you had mentioned it multiple times and I had never seen it or really any other Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, particularly like the straight up action ones. Like I'd seen True Lies and I'd seen...
apparently people just think True Lies is a good movie.
It's just great.
Yeah.
It's an objectively great film. Kindergarten Cop.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
And I just remember that little kid being like, boys have a penis and girls have a vagina.
This is
And
the second
he's
time
like,
we brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm not editing in that clip again. I'm not doing it.
Not doing it. So I had not really seen a lot of like throwback true Arnold movies. So that's why we watched Commando.
Yeah. I mean, Predator's is up there.
I've never seen that one.
I'm not a huge fan of Predator just because it's an alien.
Mm.
But it's not a scary movie. It is an
Right.
action movie. There's a little bit of suspense for when the Predator is around because you're like, oh, it can be invisible. Where is it? Oh,
Oh,
no.
it can be invisible. I didn't even know.
Yeah, it can go invisible.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we started with Hot Rod,
Which is
which
great.
was an incredible film.
If you've never seen Hot Rod,
Highly recommend.
yeah, it's so stupid. It's a really dumb movie.
But it's fully aware of what it is from start to finish. It's like we're just a bunch of weirdos.
Oh, 100%.
We're aggressively weird.
It's like a small town. Like, what do you think? Like Oklahoma, Minnesota, like a weird.
Oh, it read to me as like upstate New York, but
they're not. But it's like nobody's well off. It looks like it's like
right.
kind
upstate
of like
New York isn't fancy.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything
It's
about
like,
New York.
You know, I mean, it's like any rural part of the country.
I didn't know
it's
upstate
that.
New York is rural.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's more of like a little suburb town. Like, it's like not a suburb, but it's a little town that has its own culture because everybody's not that well off.
I truly
except
have
for the
no
people
idea.
that drive in from there,
I
like
don't know how to
Denise's
describe
our boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't know
Who's
how to
blonde,
describe
right?
it, but it's
Yeah.
somewhere USA.
Yeah, it's a weird little thing.
It's just Andy Samberg who wants to raise money so that they can cure his stepdad's,
No, get him a new heart.
get him a new heart so that he can kick his stepdad's ass, which is an incredible
And
synopsis of a film. Like,
Andy Samberg is Rod, and he's a stuntman.
well, he wants to be a stuntman,
No, he's
but
a
he is
stuntman.
really bad at being a stuntman, and his stepfather is played
Ian McShane.
by Ian McShane, who is way too good of an actor to even touch this film, and yet there he is.
I mean,
And he's
Bill Hader's
incredible.
in it.
Bill Hader's in it with extensions.
Fucking what is his name? The other one,
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride's
I
in
fuck
it.
with Danny McBride so heavily.
Jorma from Lonely Island, the one with the like not a bowl cut, but it's almost a
It's
bowl
so
cut.
close to a bowl
Yeah,
cut.
and then the
And
other,
he plays the half brother Kevin.
yeah, and the third guy, I think he's just a stepbrother. Are they half brothers?
Yeah, I thought he was
I
because I
thought.
think they have the same mom.
I thought. I mean,
the
I
mom that just like looks the other way while Ian McShane absolutely beats Andy Samberg's ass in
I
the
don't know.
basement.
But then the third Lonely Island guy is the one directing it.
It's so good,
Yeah.
and it really came from like a place where
Of
Lonely
them just
Island,
fucking around, really.
and they put out such good shit.
It's
They're
so
like
funny.
run on SNL. That album they made.
They have 2 albums.
They have 2 albums.
I think. Well, yeah. Where do you think Turtleneck and Chain came from?
You're so right.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
different
almost
album.
Different album. But they really like put out a lot of really good
And
shit.
then Never Stopping.
Never
Apparently,
Stop,
that
Never
movie's amazing.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
And
Especially now that I've seen Hot Rod. Because
Yeah.
once you really see... Because they were just doing like little skits, like music videos and stuff on SNL and for Lonely Island. So then like, I'm like, I don't know if I can I don't know if I can do like Dick in a Box the movie. You know what I mean? Like
I
don't.
could.
And well, now I know. After watching Hot Rod, I fully could watch Dick in a Box the movie.
Yeah.
Because
Ding. Oh.
it was so good. Danny McBride's haircut was such a great detail, but it literally like was giving me flashbacks to like
Oh, yeah.
all these dudes I knew growing up who woke up every day
And we're like, this is how I'm going to leave the house.
looking exactly like Danny McBride in that movie and
Yep.
just leave the house.
Yep.
That was incredible. I was like, whoever made that call is a genius.
And then they did the parody of the Kevin Bacon Footloose scene.
So good. And that was probably just Andy Samberg sitting there like, I've always wanted to redo the Footloose scene, but I can't really dance, so here we are. And that's like,
We're going to get like 7 different people to put on a weird little Jew fro and prosthetic nose to do it.
oh my god.
And then I'm going to fall down a hill for literally 48 seconds.
So good.
Apparently timed out. It is like 48 seconds of him just falling.
Perfect.
But yeah.
So yeah, we watched Hot Rod first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we watched Rambo,
Yep.
which I had never seen before, and which like did make me tear up at the end. I was really
Yeah.
You're correct in wanting me to watch these like throwback
Look,
movies of his.
Stallone went for it.
He did a great job. That movie is really complex.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's so many things going on here.
Yeah. He kills one guy and it's on accident.
Yep.
Because he just threw that at he throws a stone at a helicopter. Because like he knew it would fuck him up.
And dumbass was leaning, trying to shoot him.
Yeah. Fell out and died.
Yep. So that's so fascinating to me, especially since I feel like the other movies,
They're all pretty much straight up action movies. It doesn't make.
right? Which like misses what's good about the first movie.
Yep.
You know?
Pretty much completely.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah. If you've ever seen Rambo First Blood, and you've seen Rambo First Blood Part 2.
That's
Yep.
wow. That's rough.
It doesn't make any sense. They could have just called it Rambo 2. Rocky 2 is Rocky 2. Doesn't make
I don't know.
a bit of difference there. So
Nem's upset about it.
she's asleep.
No, she's not. She's awake.
Oh, well, I couldn't see. Now she's offended.
Nem can have a little sleep as a treat.
But yeah, that and like doesn't make sense. But yeah, Rocky First Blood Part 2. Just combine both universes. Rambo First Blood Part 2 literally starts with him at like a prison doing prison chain gang stuff. He's literally like working a yard.
Okay.
And then the colonel, I don't even know. It's probably the same character from the first movie, but not the same actor. If I'm remembering correctly, comes and is like, we need you to do a mission. And then he goes back to Vietnam.
Jesus.
It doesn't. It's
not great.
No. I mean, it's great, but not for the right reasons.
Right. Fun to watch, but not for the right reasons.
I was going to say, John Rambo is awesome because there's a scene where he gets on a 50 cal machine gun and just tears some people apart.
Jesus.
And it's wildly violent, but it is pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah.
So that movie is the fourth movie. That's when Stallone came back to acting.
Oh, okay.
So that's why that one's John Rambo, because that's also the year he did, well, not the same year, but it's around the same time he did Rocky Balboa, which is when he's older. But that movie, he's like a tour guide in a war-torn, like...
somewhere.
Yeah, and these Peace Corps people are like, oh, we want to go to this area to, like, capture footage and show people what's going on there. And he's like, I don't want to take you there. The people that are ripping through that country don't take prisoners. You're going to be killed. And they're like, okay, then we'll just go without you. They do. And he's like, God damn it.
Right. He's like, these motherfuckers right here.
So he goes to rescue them. And then I think at one point he literally tears someone's throat out with his bare hands.
That's absurd.
I mean, when you see Stallone now, though,
right.
he looks like he's taller and he's a short guy.
Like how? I don't know how.
HGH, that's how. He might be 80 years old, but he's pumped full of HGH and steroids.
Yeah. Wow.
He's like 70 something.
But he was really, and that's what's interesting too, because I've seen Creed and Creed 2.
Yeah.
And those movies have a lot more substance than I expected. I just thought, oh, this is just going to be like a shitty boxing movie, but Michael B. Jordan's in it, so like I'm gonna watch that. And I had
didn't what's his name direct the first one? Ryan Coogler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like surprised. I was genuinely surprised that Ryan Coogler was brought onto that project because so many of his films are they just have so much more substance than what I assumed the Rocky franchise had.
Yeah. I mean, Rocky, I don't remember Rocky 2 too well, but I think that one's also good.
Oh, okay.
It's Rocky 3 and 4 are like, oh, Rocky's made it.
Rocky.
So it's hard to sell him as the underdog. It's like, oh no, he made it.
Right.
That's kind of what, like how Creed 2 does it, where he's like, oh, he's on top of the world, da 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 da. They have to knock him down a peg. That's what Rocky 3, Rocky 4, every other Rocky movie does.
Right.
Well, except for 5, because he's mentally handicapped from being punched in the head so much.
What? so troubling to me.
Oh, it's not good.
That
movie's not good.
It's not good.
It's not. Yeah, even back then, people were like, man, Stallone, maybe not.
Maybe Stallone, why'd you do that? But especially, it seems like because he is credited as a writer on both of those movies, right? And he's, the title character who also doesn't talk much in both of those films, which is very interesting.
He talks more in Rocky than Rambo.
That's true. But in both of them, he really doesn't have a lot of lines.
Yeah, it's mostly...
he really just kind of interacts with other people, and there's a lot of these like long periods of silence or of like music and sound effects, but him not really talking. So he's doing all these really interesting things. And then also there's a huge like social commentary and depth to Rocky and Rambo.
Yeah,
that was really surprised. But now Creed 1 and 2 make a lot more sense to me.
Yeah,
because even though I wouldn't call them, radically saying too much, they had more substance than I expected from what I assumed was just going to be some action movie about boxing.
Yeah.
But Michael B. Jordan like has some real ass moment. I was like, oh, so this franchise actually is like Creed 1 and 2 actually are following in the footsteps of, I guess, the original spirit of Rambo and Rocky, and that like
just Rocky,
mostly just Rocky. But
unless Michael B. Jordan is baby Rambo.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he will be at some point.
That doesn't make any sense. At least in Creed, it makes sense because Apollo could have a kid,
right?
And it's like, oh, okay.
I mean, Rambo could have had sex with a black woman, had a light-skinned black son.
But that's not my problem with it. It's just it'd be weird at that point. To have
but how
Michael
many
B. Jordan in a Rambo
super
movie
traumatized
as well.
Vietnam vets had kids that they have no relationship with?
Oh, probably a bunch.
And
yeah, but I'm just saying it's just like, all right, guys, now you're doing this is too much. Like, I get you guys probably like working together, but this is too much.
And it does seem like they do enjoy working together, which is also sweet.
Yeah.
It like warms my heart.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson and Ryan Coogler are all nice people.
Yeah.
So if they like working with Sylvester Stallone, I'm going to assume that he's at least an okay person in real life.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't try to keep up with anybody that old.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's got a lot of
he's
lived a lot of life.
A lot of things are happening to him,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. I mean,
he was famous in the 80s.
Yeah.
So his blood is 50% cocaine, just
at least.
Period. And the other 50% is HGH.
Yeah.
So it's how
75% of it's HGH. He's got too much blood.
Yeah. Too much blood. He just bleeds HGH.
Probably.
He
just sweats it.
Cocaine laced HGH for you.
Probably.
That's a hot commodity in LA.
Yeah, there are probably people
who would pay top dollar.
They're like, you got any of that Stallone sweat?
Right. Sylvester Stallone sweat on this towel. Perfect. I'm going to eat it. Blend it up in a green smoothie. Like, this is good for me.
The towel fibers give me good fiber.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea if that's how that works.
I just imagine that people who eat trendy diets in LA are just constantly either pooping
or not,
or just they haven't pooped in months.
Which is dangerous.
Yeah, super dangerous.
Your colon, well, not your colon, your small intestine could explode.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
And then you die from the inside out. Well, I was going to say that's usually how people die, but I don't know if that's how that works.
Yeah, that's truly terrifying. I'm so sorry.
What's going on?
6.
From who?
Oh, my God. So, my friend Shelby is watching episode 5 of The Witcher right now. Okay. And she texted me and she was like, how did I wait until I got to episode 5 before I realized that I have the same hair as Geralt? Like,
is Shelby's hair that white, though?
Yeah. She started going to a new salon when Ashley moved her salon. So
because her hair used to be like a darker
gray, but now it's more of a nice white
bluey.
type color. So
Well,
that's
Halloween
hysterical.
costume.
But yeah, first of all, great Halloween costume. Second of all, Geralt's hair is awesome. It's very on trend. The ice white. I mean, when we were watching it the other day, my friend Digan was like, "It's so amazing how Geralt invented the half up, half down look."
I mean, it makes sense if you're gonna have long hair.
But
Keep
you-
it out of his face.
Right, but you also need to like fight and like live in the woods mostly.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to like put that shit away.
Yeah, anything that could be in front, you want back,
Right.
and then
Totally
the rest
makes
could
sense.
just sit back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not like a douchey man bun kind of person, so
Yeah, I don't think even in the games that you can even get close to a bun. Like, there's another. I think is it the first game? No, I think he's always like. There's two hairstyles he's shown within the games a lot. One is the hair that he's got in the show, which is like the half up, half down thing. Another one is where the sides are shaved down and he has a ponytail.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that way he's literally got no
Right. Nothing
hair
in
to-
his face.
Yeah.
I respect that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's just funny that Shelby just texted me. She sent me 6 text messages in a row, so I was like, are you okay? Which
Yeah.
is why I checked it.
That makes sense.
But she is okay. She has
Yeah.
Geralt hair.
We
so.
can talk about The Witcher, but first you gotta.
we
talk
gotta
about your-
wrap up the Christmas films.
Yeah.
Okay. So, listeners,
Oh God, my balls.
it's very important to me that you understand
my testiculars.
your testes.
They were turning, and
Your
it's
groin
not good.
balls instead of
I-
your face balls. Everyone, well, not everyone, but most people have 2 face balls. It's their eyes. Some people even have groin balls. But almost everyone has 2 face balls.
There are people out there that only have one.
That's true. Or none, but that's,
That
They're-
sucks.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
that's probably what they would say.
I mean, I'm sure it's not convenient
Well, yeah,
given, the world we live in, which is ableist and terrible.
it's like mostly
Um,
relies on everybody being able to see.
Yes, it's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was like, it's very important to me as someone who grew up loving theater, particularly musical theater. And since there's been so many conversations about Cats recently, no, we didn't watch
No,
Cats.
don't do that.
Because
I'm not gonna subject myself to that horror.
I think I really might not either. Even though there's, I love a good train wreck. So there's something about me that wants to see it. But then, like, I've seen, like, they put out more trailers of, like, other clips of the film, which I think only make it look worse.
Well, yeah, nothing makes that movie look good.
And it seems like they added
I've-
a lot of material to the musical, which
thought
is
they only
already
I thought they
balls
added
to the
one
wall nuts. No, there's, like, dialogue
Oh, well, yeah.
that I've never heard before.
That's God.
And, yeah, so...
Look, all I saw is one gif of Rebel Wilson unzipping her skin
can't.
to unleash.
they added that to a trailer, the commercial that's playing now.
Why would that make anyone go, "Oh, I gotta see that"?
No
That's
one wants-
horrifying.
that's
It's
genuinely-
red on the inside. That's what? Just make it a void. Like, make it black. Anything other
Nothing.
than it might actually be flesh. Like, what? That's weird as fuck.
Yeah, that's super
And
strange.
then the roaches. Did you see the stuff with the roaches?
I saw they have a clip of it. It's in that commercial.
That would.
I know. I don't know why that would make you want to go see the film. I don't know. It
This is
doesn't.
what Nem thinks of it.
She's like
Deep in her butthole. That's what.
deep in her butthole
That's for video only.
with that little paw just straight up
She's
in the
got
air.
a question.
She's like, yes, hello, I have a question. Why is there flesh?
Why is there flesh inside the Rebel Wilson?
Skin suit? I don't know. I
That
don't know.
isn't a skin.
So
Oh,
I
fucking-
I feel the need in my heart
Cats don't shed their skin.
to expose Nico to more musicals, particularly because you don't seem to like them very much. But there's some that I think are genuinely interesting, and it doesn't have to be your genre.
I thought. I
But
mean,
I
I
feel
thought
like
Guys and Dolls was fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really wonderful things. So anyway, did we watch Monty Python first? Yes. No, we watched
We
Guys
watched
and Dolls
it
and then
last.
Monty Python.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to watch Guys and Dolls because it was super formative for me, and I saw it for the first time when I was 3 years old, and
Also,
I
I
was
didn't say this while watching it, but you can totally hear Marlon Brando's "You come to my wedding or the day of my daughter's
because
wedding."
just like how Marlon Brando talks, kind of. Like,
I know,
it
but it's
it
just
was-
like I was like, oh, so that's his
Yep.
cadence. That's
That's-
just how he speaks.
yeah, he
Yeah.
just talks like a mobster.
Yeah.
When interestingly enough, he's not the bona fide mobster in the film. Frank Sinatra is the bona fide mobster in the film. He's both playing a mobster and he also.
Well, we don't know. Do we ever really find out whether or not his character is a mobster? He's got way more money than other people, apparently, he was like, "Oh, I'll pay you all $1,000 if I lose this."
Yeah, but I think the implication is that he can't actually do that.
It
When he
seemed-
sings that whole song to the dice and to Lady Luck, being like, "Please don't let me fucking lose this," because not only will I not get my dick wet, but also,
whoa, he married her
yeah.
after one date, so I don't think it was just.
Granted, he did fly her to Cuba for said date.
And that's probably not cheap, especially back then.
No, not cheap.
So I'm think he had a lot of money.
That's a lot of dudes, though. There's a lot of dancers in that sequence right before that scene.
There's just a lot of dancers in that movie.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, so I really love it, and I think particularly for a golden age musical, Guys and Dolls is really rich because it
Also, Marlon
plays
Brando
on-
can't sing anywhere near
Oh.
as well as Frank Sinatra.
not even close.
It's wild that there's parts where he's singing and Frank's right there because you know he's got to be like, I mean, yeah, he's famous, he's good looking, but
and
he
he's
can't
younger.
sing.
He's significantly younger than Frank Sinatra.
But
in
he
that
can't
movie.
sing.
No, he can't. Marlon Brando cannot sing. But
Yeah.
there he was.
It wasn't terrible.
No.
Better than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, but that's not a high bar.
Better than, I don't know, fucking, who's kind of shitty right now?
I don't know.
Who can't? We got no one. We got no one who we know of shitty that sings.
Just Taylor Swift. That's all I know.
All right, man.
Just Taylor Swift. But yeah, I feel like what's interesting about Guys and Dolls, if you've ever seen it or if you haven't, highly recommend. It's a good use of your 2.5 hours. It is long, but
It's
all
long.
musicals
It feels
and,
long.
and a lot of movies back then just were that long.
Yeah.
Because storytelling was paced differently. And so the way that the story is told is slower, even though I feel like relative to a lot of films that come out now, it takes place over a short period of time. It only happens over like 48 hours or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
But you really like feel some time passing.
I mean,
But I saw it for the first time when I was 3 and I was like, I'm going to play Adelaide one day. I still haven't. But damn, did I want to be like, a person can develop a cough.
does she
Just-
say cough? Because I know, like, I've
She
heard
does.
you say it, but I didn't hear it when watching the
I think
movie.
so she says cold, cough, la grippe. Oh, la grippe.
I don't remember hearing
She
cough.
goes through a whole bunch of shit. And what's
Yeah.
funny, too, is that she's like reading it from a psychology textbook.
Yeah.
It's like, it's this like weird, super sexist pseudoscience that's like, oh, when a woman is engaged or not married, she gets sick over worrying whether she's going to get married or not.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting about the musical is that there's like all these different layers of like how ironic or how serious is it, or how much of the musical is actually a commentary on the real backwards ass gender roles of the era that it's set in.
Yeah.
And it's also cool to see a very different style of musicals than for Cats, for example, where they're not trying to be hyper realistic.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole point is like the movie magic, the escapism is like a big part of
Yeah.
the
Times Square
aesthetic. It isn't Times Square.
It's just
painted.
it's
set.
a painted wall. Yeah.
And it's then they're not even trying to make it look like real Times Square.
Yeah.
Like they're like
yeah. It's not like it doesn't have depth or anything.
Right.
It's just signs, and then cars are parked up
Yeah.
next to it.
And something that you noticed almost immediately was like, is this like done on a stage? Like it looks like a musical.
Well, no, I didn't say that. I said that you could tell it's a set. Like they built a set out for it, which doesn't happen a lot now.
Yeah.
Either things are either shot on location or CGI.
Yeah,
in.
with a green screen.
It's
yeah.
not like sets are built that much anymore.
Yeah. So and they built everything
Yeah.
because there really wasn't such thing as CGI.
Yeah.
So
that and you can kind of tell that everything was shot like a
musical.
yeah, because it's not one camera, but it's one camera angle the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's always shot from like this,
Yeah,
like us.
pretty much.
Yeah.
There's only a few close-ups, and they're long shots
Yeah,
that are like restricted
yeah,
to
that
just
are
one
zoomed
actor
in. Yeah.
standing there reciting lines or singing to the camera, and like that's it.
Yeah, you don't get another angle
Yeah.
or see someone's back
I mean,
because
and,
they're
and
faced
when you
away
imagine
or
also
anything.
that like thinking about editing, right? It's literally someone there with physical film,
Yeah.
literally physically splicing it together, right? Like that puts a whole different perspective on how the movie's
Yeah.
put together. And I
there
just
we
think
go.
watching older movies is sometimes you just get such a different sense of what movie making is or could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, even with watching like Rocky or Rambo,
Yeah, it's totally different.
there's an entire sequence in Rambo where there are rats. They
Mhm.
used real rats, and he was just throwing rats.
Those are real ass rats.
Yeah. They're probably bait rats that people would use to feed their pythons or something.
Right. But those
they
are
were
real rats.
Yeah.
And he was really just grabbing them and throwing them.
Yeah.
That's a very different style of movie making.
Yeah. That you
For
wouldn't
good
see.
reason.
Yeah.
You shouldn't throw the animals, but.
Yeah. But, I
But
mean,
you know, Sylvester Stallone was really covered in fucking rats. Like
Yeah.
that was like
well, it's
that's
different.
just very different.
Yeah. You're not going to get any A-list celebrity covered
yeah.
in rats anywhere.
under no circumstances.
Not, I mean, Fear Factor doesn't even exist anymore. And Joe
Right.
Rogan loved covering people in rats.
He loved that shit, or having them eat
Bull testicles?
Yeah, bull testicles. Why was he so into that?
Because he got to make people eat bull testicles.
That's fair.
Are you kidding me? His day job was basically being a stand-up comedian. He got that hosting gig, and then when he got really into fucking UFC and stuff, when that started to blow up, he got a fucking what is it? Not oh my god, what is it called when you're shoutcasting? But it's not shoutcasting because that's video game speak.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but like because he casts UFC fights and he's like, oh, like, you know,
Oh,
he's
okay.
like color commentary. I mean,
Cool.
color commentary is a style of it, but
right.
you know,
Yeah.
he did that, and now he's got
Commentator.
a fucking a commentator on it, and then now he's got a podcast that has like 7,000 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, but he's said on his podcast, he was like, "Are you kidding me? It was awesome."
Right.
Being able to make people eat bull testicles, covering them in spiders, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just to watch them try be like, oh yeah, it's like what 20,000? Like it's not that much money. He was like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't do that shit. And I'm getting paid just to be near them.
Right. That's pretty wild. So yeah, so we watched Guys and Dolls. It was long for you.
I didn't even know it was going to be that long.
Yeah. You were not prepared.
No, I wasn't.
And truly, I never internalized it as that long of a movie when I was a kid because I just like loved watching it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that makes sense for you.
yeah, so I didn't even think, oh, now I should tell you that we're gonna watch a 2.5 hour Golden Age musical. Good luck.
I mean, I knew all my movies weren't going to be
No.
that long because
No.
comedies usually aren't longer than an hour and a half to begin
Right.
with.
Yeah.
Older, like 80s movies, especially like action movies, don't like maybe Rambo is 100 minutes.
Yeah.
If
It was
that,
not long. I was like,
yeah.
oh, this movie's like 10 minutes from being over? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
He was in the town and you were like, I was like, oh yeah, there's not much left. And you were like, what? How?
I was so confused.
And then it resolved itself.
Yeah.
But
He
yeah.
had that brilliant monologue toward the end. That was so good.
Yeah.
And then we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which you'd
I
seen
never-
some of,
I've
but not
seen
the whole
like,
thing.
yeah. I've never watched the movie. I've seen clips of it and GIFs.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the Black Knight stuff where he's like, it's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh wound.
And
Come back
and
out,
then-
kick your ass.
I've seen the picture of your mom smells of,
Oh, your father was a hamster and your
Oh,
mother
yeah.
smells of gooseberries.
yeah, I've seen
Which
that.
is incredible.
Because, yeah, but
Shout
that's
out to
it.
John Cleese for that line because that is pure gold.
Yeah, but that's all. I never actually watched the movie.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was good.
yeah, that's really funny.
And the movie ends so abruptly.
Just get arrested.
And you're like, what is the plot of this film? And it's like, nothing, man. There's no plot. Don't worry
What are you
about it.
talking about? It's King Arthur's going to get the
And
Holy
then he
Grail
gets arrested by modern day policemen.
Even- for a crime he didn't commit. That was a different night that stabbed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get beheaded because that was too violent. Well,
Well, no, because the Black Knight gets all his limbs cut off. I
yeah,
don't
but
know.
it's not. He's not worried about it.
Right.
Though the guy he stabs in the face, that was
That was pretty brutal. I was like, Monty Python, I didn't know you were doing this.
yeah. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But everyone else that died was kind of just comical.
Yeah. God, when they start throwing the barn animals.
Jesus Christ! It's just a cow.
And it's so random. But I love it too. Also because of John Cleese's French. He's like, fetch la vaca. And you're like, what? Even if you see the subtitles, you're like, that can't be a thing.
Well,
Fetch la vaca. It's like, just fetch the cow. And
Yeah.
it's so funny.
I mean, they used dead animals as catapult
Yeah, they
ammo.
look
and the-
taxidermy. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying in medieval times. Wait, did you not know this?
I didn't.
This
I
is-
just thought they were being absurd.
No, they in
That's
medieval
an actual
times.
historical reference.
Yeah, they used diseased and rotting dead animals in sieges to try to get people sick and stuff. It's like one of the first cases of chemical warfare was using dead and rotting animals in sieges.
That's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, what are you going to do with it, you know?
Yeah.
And you want to get it out of your castle. You don't want, like, dead, rotting flesh.
Well, not shot out of a castle, shot into one that's being
Oh.
sieged.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Because it's going to splat and it's going to get gross
Oh,
everywhere.
it's so nasty.
Yep.
Just body parts flying everywhere. Truly, if they splat, there's going to be bones
Yep.
flying.
There's shrapnel.
Yeah. Wow. That's so funny to me.
Yeah.
John Cleese playing the French guy is just brilliant.
But that's not live cows that they shoot.
Right. They look like they might be like taxidermied.
Oh, in the
Animals.
movie?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's clearly
But it's-
like...
oh, they definitely throw at least a few live chickens and ducks
Well, yeah, but they
in
probably
some
just
of the
go-
shots, right? But they're just like
Yeah.
chucking them real lightly.
Yeah.
But you can see like a chicken being like fuck,
Yeah.
falling. And
Yeah. But it's very clear, like, even when he's like, Jesus Christ, and they do the out shot, he's like, oh, that's
Obviously
a computer-generated fake-ass cow. But it's funny to see them say, get a live cow, and then it's coming over,
It's so funny.
because it makes no sense.
And the coconuts. Then the whole first
Oh.
scene where they're talking about the sparrow is just like, it's so
Look,
good.
an African one could do it, but they're not migratory.
They're non-migratory. It's so good. As a kid, my sisters used to quote that all the time.
I mean, yeah.
And like we would just constantly just repeat the whole swallow scene. I don't know, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And the coconuts are just the fact that they're using the coconuts to sound
Yeah.
like horses, and
Instead
it's just
of ever getting a horse.
it's so good.
And then even people are like, What are you doing that for? Why don't you have a horse?
She's like, I do have a horse.
He's like,
Just-
but no, there's a coconuts. It's just
I
like,
love when King Arthur's like, dismount, and then they all pretend to get off a horse, but they're just standing there. It's so good. So Nico had never seen the whole thing, but now he has.
Yep. It's good.
And that's the best.
Yeah.
It was good. I think we had a good
Yeah.
what, like 6 hours of movie watching.
Longer because you picked a 2.5-hour movie.
It was
Because
long.
6 hours would have been 4 1.5
yeah.
hour movies.
And we made a steak dinner.
Yep.
And had a good time.
Was that night?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I
Okay.
wore my onesie all day. That's our Christmas tradition, is just to make an elaborate meal for two and just watch movies all day.
No.
Usually we drink a little bit, but I was very sick,
Yeah.
so I did not imbibe.
Yeah.
And I don't think you did either. Did you have one drink, something like that?
I don't remember.
But usually the goal is that we play a drinking game. When we watched Commando, I think we both got a little drunk,
Well, yeah.
and it was awesome.
Because the
Drums
the steel drums play all the time.
kept happening. Oh.
Just all the goddamn time.
Yeah, so our goal in previous years has been to play a drinking game that will like get us a little bit drunk while we watch these films, but this year especially because I was recovering from being very, very sick.
Also, we watched 4 movies.
Yeah.
We would have had to find 4 different. I mean, sure, it's not that hard to find
Right.
drinking games, but like,
We either would have been like blacked out drunk or we would not have been playing
yeah,
after a while.
it's just there's too many movies.
But that was a real good.
It's like it's being like, oh, I want to watch all the Marvel movies and playing a drinking game the entire time you watch
Right.
every single one of them.
Just be dying.
Well, your liver would quit.
Or
Your
you.
liver would open up your body like a doorway, like a comic book
They
cartoon.
would come
be
out
like,
with like a suitcase and
it's
be
like,
like,
nah, I quit. Fuck this. Walks out.
yeah. Or you would just stop playing at
Yeah.
some point, which is what happens, I feel like, with a lot of drinking games.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just it's too much. It's fucking steel drums.
So that's our married Christmas tradition.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. For
Yeah. I mean, we don't got anything.
I would love to hear about other holiday traditions.
Yeah. What do you guys
From
do with
folks.
your family?
Maybe you do something
Friends.
cool for New Year's or Kwanzaa. Maybe you do something really cool for Easter and you just want to tell us about it.
Yeah, that's fine. I
No,
mean,
it's
we don't
fine.
do anything
We
with
don't.
Easter.
Yeah, we don't do anything for Easter, but I do like the cheap candy the day after, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
The only Easter thing I like is the South Park episode.
There's an Easter South Park episode.
Yes, because it's talking about the Easter bunny and how only a bunny should be the Pope because of the way the hat looks. It would cover the bunny's ears. That's also the episode where Kyle's the Jewish one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kyle has to kill Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because that's supposed to be what happened is.
Well, yeah, but also it's because they're both in a jail cell in the Vatican.
What?
Because the Pope doesn't want Jesus to tell anybody about what they're doing, which, is commentary on
There's so
the
many.
Catholic Church. This is- and what was happening at the time
It's a
that
bit on
episode.
the nose there.
Well, I mean, when have Matt Stone, is it Matt Stone and Trey Parker?
Mhm.
Yeah. When have they not just been like, oh, this is happening in the news. All right, we're
Mhm.
gonna make an episode because we
Yeah.
can do one in a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my only Easter thing. Because when I was younger, we used to get baskets, and it's just candy and like either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards is what we
No,
got.
We just got candy.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you imagine? I grew up in a Jewish family.
Did you celebrate Easter?
Why did my mom get us Easter? I guess she just didn't want us to feel left out.
I mean, you can just give kids candy and be like, eh.
Right? Like, why did it have to be in a little basket? Why did things have to be bunny shaped? I don't know.
I don't know.
We went to Easter egg hunts. It's interesting that like the holiday has become so secularized that even like my Jewish mom and her Jewish children, she was like, well,
Yeah.
gotta make sure they don't feel left out. I mean, we have Passover. Passover is when you just get fucked up with your Jewish friends. That's an incredible holiday. You just get really drunk.
I feel left out.
Right. I'm
No, I
like,
don't.
I mean, as much as I wanted the candy, I would have taken the kosher wine too. But
Man.
yeah, I mean, we all got Easter baskets every year that I can remember. So yeah, tell us about your traditions, especially if they're weird or fun
Yeah.
or both, or if they're terrible.
Does your dad celebrate Kwanzaa for no reason?
Right.
Is that something
And
weird
it's
like that?
a family embarrassment that you have to be like,
It's like, Dad, we're not.
my
What are you
white
doing?
non-African father.
What's really
celebrates
is like,
Kwanzaa.
he's like, I don't want you guys to feel left out. We're gonna celebrate Kwanzaa, and you're like, Dad, no,
No, Dad.
that's not for us.
I would love to hear stories about that shit. That sounds incredible. You should just write a book at that point.
Yeah, probably so. My dad
Yeah.
wanted to celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
The blankety blank story.
My Caucasian Kwanzaa.
Spell Caucasian with a K.
oh.
Or Kwanzaa with a C. Who knows?
Oh, I feel like that's more offensive.
Either way.
But the whole thing sounds offensive, so I guess,
Though, to be
like,
fair,
it is what it is.
If you did my Caucasian Kwanzaa with a K, then I just assume you're also in the Mortal Kombat universe. And your
Right.
life is hell anyway.
Right.
Because
So,
you're probably going to get killed by a demon at some point.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens to regular people in those games.
the more you know. I
Well,
didn't know
yeah. If you're not in the tournaments, then you just food for demons.
Jesus. That's rough.
Well, yeah. Normal people are just always casualties in those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
That's
all
Christmas,
I have about.
yeah. I mean, we're at an hour.
Totally up to you.
We can wait for Witcher thoughts, or we can talk about it.
I feel like we should have a whole episode on Witcher thoughts.
Okay. I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
We can do that. Yeah.
Cool. Because
'Cause-
I have a whole episode's worth of thoughts about Witcher. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a whole season we watched.
Perfect. So look forward to an episode about The Witcher.
Yeah.
A whole hour plus
Yeah, maybe.
of our hot takes.
I'm gonna try to get Moggs on because he watched the show,
Yes.
but I don't know like his schedule's usually. This is not something I want
Right.
to talk about on the
Yeah.
podcast, but we're already here. His schedule is usually Monday and Tuesday mornings, but I don't know when I'm gonna work, and I don't know when you.
I mean,
teach.
we'll know in 48 hours.
Yeah, but I don't know when you teach.
I teach the same time. Tuesday, Thursday,
Well, okay.
4 to 5:15.
Well, then.
I don't know when I work, but I have.
Yeah.
But usually I
that's-
have some flexibility, so.
Yeah.
Or,
so
and I
it just
usually
depends.
tended to work in the mornings
Yeah.
when Moggs is usually asleep anyway.
Yeah.
So like we could do a Tuesday or something.
Well, I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
find out very soon.
Also, knee. Ugh, gross.
Can't post these lewds.
Get my knees out of here. They're disgusting. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything on here. Did I mention that? I mean, that's like, did I say that one already? I never understood why people want to see buttholes, like the hole specifically.
We have definitely not discussed this, but I mean, we're here and you said it, so I feel like you need to capture this. I'm just gonna sip my water and
I mean, look, there's plenty of porn out there where it's like, let's look straight at their brown eye, and I've never really understood that because I don't find anything necessarily hot or sexy. I mean, hot temperature wise makes sense.
Jesus Christ, you're such a weirdo.
But like, you know, I've never been like, oh, beehole, nice. Like that's like an isolated shot of like
just
asshole. That's it. I've never understood that.
I mean, I feel like your confusion makes sense. I think it's very interesting. I mean, listen, my impulse is to go meta with this, right? Which is like, I think it's really interesting how certain parts of certain bodies, or in this case, most people's bodies, because the vast majority of humans have a butthole.
I think you could safely say.
No, I'm sure there's someone. I don't know. I don't want to exclude anybody.
Look, not having a colon isn't the same as not having an asshole.
I know, but I don't want to exclude anybody. Intentionally
no
or
matter,
unintentionally.
I'm just saying.
I'm just covering my bases, okay? I am deferring.
I'm just
to
saying,
the
even if your butthole gets cut off, there's still a hole there.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know these things. So I'm just going to.
If you're a doctor, let me know whether or not if you can actually lose your butthole, if it's still a hole.
Anyway.
If it's attached, I mean.
So I'm sure that the overwhelming majority of humans are in possession of a butthole, it's interesting, like, what parts of our bodies get sexualized and desexualized in isolation or in connection or in some relation to gender. There's actually been a bunch of queer theory written about
beeholes.
This is a true
bowls,
thing.
if you will.
Bowls, if you will.
Bowls. What are you talking about?
You gotta accent the H, the beholes.
In what way?
So there's no H in way, so you can't.
That's just from Hot Rod.
In what way?
No,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he was just adding H's to any word with a W.
What way? For no reason. But yeah, it's so interesting to me. Yeah. That like particularly in isolation, because I get what you're talking about. Like, there's a way in which like just the isolated beehole cam
zoom in real close.
Like, and I'm so interested in, like, if you were to do a survey of everybody who watched it, how many of them actually find that like arousing, and how many of them are just like, this is just a feature of the porn that I'm watching. It doesn't really do anything for me. I'm waiting for the camera.
Where's the analytics where I can see whether somebody's jumped ahead
like
a little bit?
Skipping that. Yeah. I bet Pornhub has this data.
I mean, I
bet they do.
There's no way they don't.
Someone who's out there in grad school, I want you to write your dissertation
about beehole
viewership, because that's fascinating. Because I wonder if it's just like a convention of the film genre, or if it's like something that people genuinely want to see. Because I feel like I don't know anyone in my life who's been like, I can't wait for that beehole shot. But would people say that? I don't know.
Camera right there.
And that can't be comfortable for the person having their beehole filmed. You just got to get a camera. Those cameras are not small.
No.
That was a large camera held by a human.
He's all the way up there.
You can feel that person's breath on your beehole. That's weird.
I mean, they could probably feel someone's breath on their beehole before that, too.
That's fair. That's fair. But still, I don't know. I just
We're
go
talking
meta
about
with
porn
it.
here.
Right. I just go very meta with it. I'm like, right, but like, let's talk about what are the social implications of our like terrible fear of anything related to butts, except for the time when we focus on them in porn.
I don't know.
Which is so strange. It's just weird. I'm like, this feels like a section out of an anatomy textbook, not something that's supposed to.
Oh yeah, when they do that zoom, and people are spreading their cheeks real wide, it's. I'm no longer like, oh, we're in porn. This is a weird anatomy class about how much the beehole can stretch, and I'm like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I'm here to crank it, not look at this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah.
I'm not here to learn.
But see, that's what's so interesting too, is I feel like there's like there's different groups of humans, and whenever I watch,
the only thing I would have learned right now is how long it takes me to come.
Ugh, gross. Why did you say that way?
Because it's funny.
I don't like it. Take it back. Take it back. I don't like it. I think we just got divorced.
It happens a lot.
It does. We're frequently divorcing.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think someone should write a dissertation about this.
Yeah.
That's a free dissertation idea.
Go right ahead, guys.
Grad students, it's free for you. You don't even have to give me credit. In fact, maybe don't give me credit for that idea.
Or do.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's not like they can tag you in anything. You're on private.
That's true.
They have to follow you, and you would have to okay it first.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, there's a dissertation to be written.
Yeah, maybe.
About that.
I guess.
Yeah. I think there's probably multiple dissertations to be written about that. Because it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
Do people really want to see that? If so, why?
I don't know.
Why? Like, I need to know these things.
I don't.
I need to know why. You can't just present something that absurd and then be like, Allie, you can't find out any more about it. I'm like, I need to know.
I don't need to know.
I might start looking up some academic articles about it. My interlibrary loan list is gonna look weird.
Cover your ears, Nemi.
The people at the library.
Why are you so mean? She got ready to fight. Right,
She's broken.
she's ready to attack. Her pupils are dilating.
Now you being weird.
Yeah.
You're being weird.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on here, but I don't think we should go more longer because I still have to edit and I'm still doing laundry and I don't know how long this laundry is going to take because last time I went down there, everything was still wet.
That's what she said.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, she could have said that. Okay, great.
Yeah, so next one should be about The Witcher because, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
we have a lot of feels.
Also, I asked, so, like, there was also the one about what memes describe our cats or whatever, but
so true.
That
could be the same episode.
Well, yeah, but...
And we should also pick memes to describe Witcher characters.
I mean, people have already done it.
I know, but we can contribute to the growing internet content that is Witcher memes.
But yeah, but I also wanted Moggs on for that one because I asked him that specifically, and he probably didn't remember to think about it, but, you know, could still...
You can
I mean, I have mine on, like, ready to go.
Oh, wow.
I wrote some down, yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm not as prepared.
Well,
for transparency's sake.
Yeah, but that, I mean, then both of you could think about it while I say them.
It's true.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's do the thank yous, and then I'm going to go downstairs and hopefully get this laundry done.
Perfect.
Probably not now. Oh, God. Anyway, at the end of every podcast, we like to do a little shout out to the people who support the Patreon.
Yeah, we do.
At the $5 tier, you get a little shout out, a little exclusive video podcast.
Get to look at our faces.
Yep.
And our bods.
And our cat.
She's so cute.
And she's also being weird, so I'm not going to pet her because she keeps getting ready to fight about it.
Yeah.
But the thank yous I would like to give out today are to Achilles, Patrick, Cert, Quinn, and T-Rex with a shotgun. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Patreon at the $5 tier. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
You are.
Everyone else who listens to Patreon for free on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean. I think that's everything. Yeah, I don't think I'm leaving anything out. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome as well.
You are.
And yeah, that's basically it. If you want to follow me on anything, twitter.com/Nico Powerful, NICCOPOWERFUL, twitch.tv/Nico All Powerful, NICCOALLPOWERFUL, and then youtube.com/Nico All Powerful, NIC1CO POW or ALLPOWERFUL. And yeah, those are all my things.
You can find me on Twitter at Allie Macchia.
Yeah, and she might add you if she deems you worthy.
Yeah.
Because you have to request since you're privated.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But it's just because I am a teacher.
Yeah. But thank you guys for listening to the podcast. And we'll see you in the next one. It's all Witcher stuff.
All Witcher all day. All day.
All day.
All day.
All day.
All day.
All day.
Judaism, son. Can that be the end?